As the mayor of the town of Clayton, I'd like to call this regular town council meeting to order. I ask you to stand for the Pledge of Allegiance and remain standing for the invocation. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Let us pray. Most gracious and heavenly Father, we pause to give you thanks for the many blessings of this day. We ask, Lord, now that you be with us as we proceed with the business for the town of Clayton. For it's in Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Do we have any adjustments to the agenda?
No adjustments, thank you.
Mr. Mayor,
Mr. Thompson.
under closed session, I would like to add one of the reasons for closed session to be to discuss personnel.
Okay. All right, got that noted. Up next on the agenda is your consent agenda.
Motion to approve?
Second.
Have a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Motion carries. Now I'd like to give the floor over to our planning director, Ben Howell.
Good evening, council. Real quick, before Dee Dee introduces our newest member of our planning department, I did want to take this opportunity to make sure everyone is aware. Dee Dee, who has been with the town now for 18 years, was recently promoted to Development Services Manager, and so she has taken on that role, has been a huge help to me since I've been here. And so she is now managing 4 of our staff members in the planning department, or supervising 4 of the staff members in the planning department. So I just wanted to take a quick moment to recognize Dee Dee and make sure everyone was aware that she has gotten this much-deserved promotion and is helping me greatly with managing some of our front office folks moving forward.
Awesome, much deserved.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you for your service. So up next is new employee introductions.
All right. I would like to introduce to you Tiffany Lloyd. She is our new permit specialist.
Hello.
Come up.
Hello. I'm excited to be here.
And what are you going to be doing for us?
I'm a permit specialist,
And that means?
specializing in permits.
Even with my ECU education, I kind of knew that. Oh my gosh, that's hilarious.
She's great. Her humor is great.
Wonderful. Well, welcome to the town of
Thank
Clayton.
you. I
We're glad to have you on our
appreciate it.
team.
Glad to be here. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Dee Dee. And now I'm going to turn the floor over to Police Chief Greg Tart.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, Madam Clerk, members of the council. I'm here tonight to honor one of our officers who recently retired. We had this thing scheduled back in January and had to postpone it. Officer Brian Pounds retired December 1st. Officer Pounds has been with the Clayton Police Department for the past 10 years. He started his career in 1990 with Smithfield PD. He came to work at Clayton for a short period of time, and then he left to go to work with DMV as a enforcement officer. And he left DMV and started his own business. And he came back to Clayton, and he was here when I came here in November 2020. And for most of you who probably don't know, some of you who do, Brian and I have been lifelong friends. We kind of grew up together. I've known him as long as I can remember. We went to school together. His family ran a family-owned business here in town for many, many years, which he grew up in, and I've known most of his family, like I said, all my life. When I came here, I talked a little bit to Brian about retiring. I knew he was turning 55 last year, and he would be eligible to draw a full law enforcement retirement. We talked a little bit about it. But I asked him if he would stay a little while because at the time I was trying to stand up a new trail unit for the police department to cover our greenways and parks. And he agreed to do that. And he was our first full-time officer out on the trails beginning last April or March maybe. When Thanksgiving rolled around, it was sometime a little before Thanksgiving, he came to me and he said, you know, I'm seriously considering retiring. We talked a little bit about it. And he said he would love to stay, but he became a new grandfather. His daughter had a baby back in the fall, and I think it changed his perspective a little bit on things, and he wanted to spend a little more time with his families. And I told him, I said, well, I admire you for that, and I'll support you in anything you want to do. So he retired officially December 1st. In addition to his work with the police department, Brian has served over 25 years with the Clayton Fire Department. He began his career there in 1987 and worked many different jobs along the way, first as a volunteer fireman, then became a part-time fireman. So when you do the math, he's probably devoted over 35 years of his life for the town of Clayton. And there's something to be said for that. I told Brian a while ago that you all dressed up on his behalf, so I need y'all to go along with me on that. So I'll bring him up. I'm presenting Brian his gun and badge for his service to the town of Clayton and to the Clayton Police Department. Congratulations.
Thank you, Chief.
Thank you, Chief. A lot of people asked me, they said, hey, why are you retiring, why are you leaving? And like you said, when I reached 55, that was a area there. Then once my grandbaby was born, that was a decision that I made. But I've enjoyed it here at Clayton. I always be a part of Clayton, and I've had some great leaders. One of them sitting right there, Chief Harvey. So all I can say is thank you, and thank you for supporting me.
Well, all we can say, Brian Pounds, is thank you for what you have meant to your hometown, town of Clayton. And I have a resolution that I'd like to read in your honor. Resolution awarding badge and service weapon to retiring police officer. Whereas the North Carolina General Statute 2187-2 provides that retiring members of municipal law enforcement agencies may receive, at the time of their retirement, the badge worn or carried by them during their service with the municipality. And whereas North Carolina General Statute 20-187.2 further provides that the governing body of the municipal law enforcement agency may, in its discretion, award to the retiring member the service weapon of such retiring member. And whereas Police Officer Brian Pounds has served as a sworn law enforcement officer in North Carolina for 20 years, with 11 and a half of those years as a member of the Clayton Police Department. Officer Pounds retired from the Clayton Police Department on December 1st, 2021. Now therefore be it resolved by the Clayton Town Council that the badge and the service weapon worn and or carried by Officer Brian Pounds be awarded to him on his retirement. Duly adopted this 18th day of January 2022 while in regular session. I'm proud to present this to you. Good luck.
Thank you.
And for those of you who will be retiring in the future, we will not guarantee you we will dress up for your ceremony. Brian Pounds, very special. And while we're letting the room clear, it does cross my mind that, I'm wondering if y'all might give me a gun when I retire, if I'm just going to get to keep the gavel. That'd be kind of cool. I mean, Michael Sims' classes would come with how to use it. You don't have to worry about that. I'll be all right. I'd like to get orange guns. Yeah, like Jason Thompson going water guns. All right, thank you. Up next on the agenda is the Clayton Year in Review.
My hometown's the greatest place I know. That's my hometown. And the people of my hometown are the greatest people that I know. The picture is bright when you get to open up and be back in person.
Live is back at the Clayton Center. It's live performances starting in October with you in the seats.
Great to be here in Clayton, bringing live music back. We always love playing after 2 long years. With that.
Welcome to the Clayton Community Center. We are excited to welcome you back and have made some big changes since you've been gone.
We have a lot more in park and recreation for Clayton. But not only is it a wonderful place to live and work, but it is a wonderful place to play.
It was so good to see so many people in downtown Clayton again enjoying themselves. I just want to say thank you so much for supporting that event and supporting, getting people back downtown, getting events back in downtown Clayton. It was just a wonderful event. It was a great testament to what this town staff can do when they work together and make something happen.
We also invite you to join us at our building. We are open and we'll have tons of great in-person programs for children, teens, and adults.
First of all, I want to thank the Mayor and the Council for your trust in putting me in the inter-domain position. We've got a really good team here, and I just want to make sure we continue to work with the town of Clayton. Clayton High School is proud to partner with the town of Clayton on this joint venture project, where Clayton High School becomes part of the town of Clayton Parks and Recreation Department. We look forward to a long-lasting partnership between the school, town, and community.
We'd like to offer our congratulations and best wishes to all our Clayton graduates in the class of 2021.
Congratulations, please, to your town.
Now therefore, I turn the cloud mayor of the town of Clayton to hear about proclaim Tuesday, August 24th, 2021 to be King Harrison Day. It is my privilege and honor to present King Harrison the key to the town of Clayton. You show what can come from a community. You exemplify what comes from family.
We really enjoy getting to know the community and have people coming around with it.
Feel comfortable out on the trail, enjoy the beautiful weather. We just want everybody to be safe. We are out here constantly patrolling, so a lot of people see us and feel comfortable. They thank us for being out here, and it's a good feeling.
Yeah, I appreciate the Johnson County Rotary Clubs for what they're doing this week. It's an honor for me to be here. It's an honor for all these men and women behind me to be here, to be respected and honored in this kind of environment.
On behalf of the town of Clayton, it is a true honor to thank each and every one of you for what you have done for the town of Clayton, for how you have expressed your appreciation for those hometown heroes that we have right here in our own backyard. And it's an honor to come to together to salute the fine men and women of our country that serve in so many various capacities. It's just amazing.
Sometimes in January, we'll have this truck full staff, 5 on each shift, which is a huge accomplishment for the town of Clayton. Thank you to our council members, thank you to our town staff, and thank you to our community.
Love and appreciation for your continued years of dedication and service to the town of Clayton. For none other than Mr. Art Holder, 2009-2021.
Got some new folks coming on that I'm excited for. As you've always been telling Donna White said, right, or should tell you, always leave it better than you found it. Am I right, Donna? And I feel like that's what I've done, and we're turning it over to a group of good folks.
With love and appreciation for your continued years of dedication and service to the town of Clayton, 2005 until 2021, Michael Grannis, on behalf of the town of Clayton, we want to thank you sincerely for your service.
Thank you very much, Mayor.
This is why we love Clayton.
I'm here to get back to the town that I love.
Congratulations, Councilman.
Look forward to working with each and every one.
Congratulations, Councilman.
I'm truly humbled for this opportunity. As we go to move forward, there's a lot of things that we have to do here in Clayton. It's going to take everyone, current councilman, former councilman, the mayor, the citizens, the community. The one thing I learned about Clayton, that Clayton is a type of place that if you embrace the town itself, it will embrace you.
So that was a little presentation we did for the state of Clayton back in the end of January with our good partners, the Clayton Rotary Club. And I want to thank our Public Information Office staff, Nathaniel and his team, Nader, Kat, all of them, for such an amazing job each and every time they are given a task to highlight and showcase and tell the Clayton story in a way that no one else ever can or ever has. So Nathaniel, thank you. All right, questions or comments? All right, if not, we'll move on to public hearings. Up next is.
I will say this, I am so sorry, Mayor. But that was an awesome video. I think that with everything going on and as Clayton's constantly moving, seeing and dealing with reminders is something we need daily. So thank you.
Awesome. Anyone else? Very cool. Thank you. Okay, up next under public hearing is fiscal year 22-23 budget public input. Turn it over to Rich.
Mr. Mayor, I'll go ahead and just take this one here from the dais. As been customary the last several years, at the beginning of budget season, we've always had a public hearing to allow for the public to come and give any ideas of things that they would like for consideration during this year's budget. So this is really more of a fact-finding opportunity or comment from the public. So we are open to any ideas or thoughts that anybody would like to provide.
All right. This has been noted as a public hearing. Anyone wishing to speak, please step forward and state your name for the record. All right, no one wishing to speak. We'll turn it over to the council for comments. All right, no comments from council, then we're good? Okay. Awesome. The next item on the agenda under old business is the wastewater reclamation funding request.
Mr. Mayor, council members, Louis Duffy here, project manager for the WRF. I'm bringing before you the final early procurement funding request from our design builder, Gannett Fleming. It's to the tune of about $23.2 million. It's the remainder of all the process mechanical equipment, a lot of the yard piping that interconnects the whole plant, and then some electrical equipment, the switch gears and MCCs. I do want to let you guys know that this is the last of the early procurement before we do the guaranteed maximum price this summer, probably in June, July, hopefully. But this allows us to keep moving and battle the market volatility that we're seeing in the construction industry. But if you have any questions, I'd be more than glad to answer them.
Awesome. 23.2 million.
Yeah.
That's the ask. Okay. Questions or comments for staff? All right. If not, I'll entertain a motion.
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion that we authorize town manager to proceed with this funding request.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second to authorize the manager to proceed with the funding request. Is there any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Motion carries. Up next under new business is the Little Creek Pump Station bid award.
So, yeah, still here. We received 7 bids last Tuesday, which was a great turnout. Unfortunately, the lowest bidder had to withdraw their bid because there was a clerical error with, I think it was something in their labor burden. But our next lowest bidder is Heron Construction. It was $6.5 million, which was about $1.5 million less than what we were carrying in our program. So that way we'll have a little bit of cushion for a contingency for any surprises. Hopefully they don't happen, but it's always good to have that. So this is a tentative award so that we can submit their bid and all the contract docs to the state for their review, and then we'll get the formal authority to award and move forward and hopefully get that project rolling.
Awesome. Questions or comments for staff?
Mr. Mayor, I have one question. So the 4.5 million, that's the difference, correct?
So their bid or their proposal was 6.5, and we were carrying 8 million. So there's $1.5 million of delta.
All right, thank you.
Yeah.
All right, anyone else? All right, if not, I'll entertain a motion.
Mr. Mayor, motion to adopt resolution 2022-05.
Second.
We have a motion and a second for the adoption of resolution 2022-05. Is there any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Motion carries.
Thank you.
Real quick, Mr. Mayor, I just want to mention that this will be the first funding package that will be placed against the $20 million appropriation that we were given in the state budget this year for the ARPA funds. So that money was very timely and is obviously very helpful to the overall program. So we're excited to be able to move that forward.
All right. So up next on the agenda is the apprenticeship program agreement.
So this item, I mentioned last week with the approval of the two positions for the water reclamation facility. This is an opportunity through the Rural Water Association to be able to get access to talent and some additional training and vetting of potential candidates for really an industry that is really tough to fill applicants right now because it's not something that people are going into very often. You can see from the documentation there are several benefits of the program. They will have mentorship, they will have some additional training, as well as really it gives us a 2-year opportunity to one, help train the next generation, but also potentially bring that person on full-time, assuming that is the path that we want to take. There is an agreement with this that I would like to mention. Any motion, if you were to approve this, we would like it to be subject to final legal review, but we did want to go ahead and put this in front of you before we go ahead and recruit for those two new positions.
All right, any questions or comments?
Mayor, we reviewed, it's good to go.
Okay. So we've received the good to go, the A-OK from the attorney, so I'll just entertain a motion to authorize the staff to execute the agreement and proceed with the apprenticeship program.
Mayor, I authorize the staff to execute agreement and proceed with apprenticeship program.
I second it.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
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 Opposed, like sign. Motion carries. And up next under new business are the amendment to the bylaws, the Library Advisory Board.
Hello, Mayor, Council, and staff. I'm up here to amend our Library Board bylaws. It was voted on by our Library Board at our last meeting. It's number 4. You should see this is on page 47 of your packet. So our old bylaws read that for attendance of members, an appointed member who with no excuse misses more than 3 consecutive regular meetings or a total of 4 meetings during the year may lose his status as a member of the board until reappointed or replaced by the town council. We realized with our board that that's a few too many. So we're changing that number. Instead of 3 consecutive, it's 2 consecutive meetings or 3 total. Most years we meet 10 times, and so missing 4 meetings, and then you could miss the July meeting, then you would be gone for half a year. So we really wanted to change that. I will note that in the bylaws further down, we didn't catch that it should say a total of 3 misses. So we might need to make sure that the language is consistent throughout the bylaw. I missed that today when I was reading it, or not today, but when we put this forward for the agenda. But the total number of consecutive misses is 2. We're changing it to 2, and the total number of misses that are unexcused is 3 for our board members. And I will just ask that you approve this change to our bylaws.
Questions or comments? And your board is in agreement with this?
Yeah, they voted to change this, and that's what's bringing me here tonight, is to have you approve it.
Awesome. Mr. Thompson.
Mr. Mayor, I move that we adopt Resolution 2022-06 and 2022-0205, the Library Advisory Board bylaws.
Second.
We have a motion and a second for the adoption of Resolution 2022-06 and adoption of the ordinance 2022-0205. Any further discussion?
Mr. Mayor, further discussion. Do we need to clarify in our adoption the additional language that was mentioned? So I don't know if the motion needs to be revised or not. Just thought I'd throw that out there.
Mr. Mayor, I'll amend that motion to include the additional language to be consistent with the total of 3.
Thank you.
Second.
All right. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Motion carries.
Thanks.
Thank you. All right, moving on to staff reports, beginning with the town manager.
Thank you, Mayor. A couple quick items for you today. First and foremost, wanted to make sure that everybody was aware of the update to our COVID protocols. I believe I emailed you all last night, and staff were informed this morning. At this point, being consistent with some of our other partners in the area, as well as after conferring with Johnson County Health Department, we have removed the mandate to require masks while in town facilities. It is now mask optional. All other elements of our COVID protocols are still in place right now in terms of enhanced cleaning, temperature check, sign in, because we do need to be able to still do contact tracing, but we have removed the mask requirement within the facilities. So that will be posted around the buildings that it's mask optional. Second thing, just wanted to follow up from our retreat last week. Staff is still compiling many of the notes and a lot of the discussion points that we brought up. But one thing that I do believe was kind of a consensus item that we wanted to look into was adding a work session basically every month before the meetings so that we could really work through some of the items on that list. As of right now, I believe the understanding would be we would look to the first Monday of the month. We would go from 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. For topics to be determined by your all's prioritization, with the first meeting of that being in April, starting the first meeting in April. We will need to have a special session March 21st regarding the findings from the Old Town Hall report. Jacobs Engineering will be in town to provide that information and give access. You'll have access to them to ask any questions regarding the follow-up in terms of what the next steps would be for Old Town Hall. Just to summarize, a special meeting on March 21st specific to Old Town Hall with the consultant, and then starting with the first meeting in May, 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. Work sessions to determine or to address specific topics.
In May?
Excuse me, in April, I apologize.
Okay.
Thank you for that.
Yes, sir. All right.
All right, with that, I think the town clerk will have to bring a amendment to the overall schedule to you next week, or excuse me, next meeting, but we will go ahead and move forward with that. Last two items, just real quick. I did want to just mention that the town did receive a notification from DEQ that we are going to be audited for our stormwater program. This is something that is a normal kind of flow. We've known it's coming for a few years, so engineering staff are already working on the documentation necessary, but we do anticipate that that will be concluding here over the next several weeks or months. And then last thing, just as a FYI, we are currently updating our consultant library. Those are the engineers, the professionals, or the professional services providers, our engineers, our architects, our land surveyors. We do that once every few years, so just anybody that might be listening, want to make sure that if they're one of our current consultants and want to respond, that they do have to go online and resubmit for that RFQ. So and that's it.
Awesome. Questions or comments for the manager? All right, town attorney. Thank you, sir. Town clerk.
No reports, thank you.
Other staff.
Hello, Amy Sharon with Clayton Fire Department. I actually have two updates for you tonight. First one is to let you know that last week we got notification that the town has officially once again been recognized as a Tree City USA. So we are, that's a 2021 recognition. Also, Arbor Day is coming up on March 18th, a little less than a month away. This year we're going to be working with some of our local schools and community groups to give out free trees to area students and residents. Once we have some more details, we'll be back to share that information with you guys to hope let you be a part of that as well. And then kind of as we speak right now, they are gearing up to start the Main Street construction on the block of Main Street from Lombard, right there at Horne Square, to Smith Street. They are going to close it down. They are working to replace and repair the existing manholes. That manhole that was is in front of Corked and Untapped that had a metal plate over it for a very long time. We are finally getting a permanent long-term solution to that temporary one that we currently have. So they are going to shut that down for 7 weeknights. It's all very weather dependent, but they will start tonight. The shutdown will be from 7 p.m. to 7 a.m. At the end of those 7 days, based on the availability of asphalt and the different schedules with asphalt plants, they might have to do a closure during the day to actually repave Main Street. And then at the conclusion of both of those or all of those closures, excuse me, this is actually a two-part project where a separate contractor is coming in to apply a cure-in-place liner to the sewer lines that we're putting in, which will again be a closure, but then we should be done and everything should be set and ready for the future, some updated infrastructure right there on that Main Street stretch. During the day, it will reopen at 7 a.m. every day, and over the weekend, all the way through the weekend, and where they're working on the manholes, there will be a metal plate just for this temporary so that we can keep it open during the day. Do you guys have any questions?
Awesome. Questions or comments? Ms. Archer?
Just thank you to staff for their communication to the businesses along Main Street. I've heard good things about that. So people are very grateful that they were informed and know everything that's going on.
Good to hear. Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, Mr. Thompson, please.
I was just going to say that, for those watching, listening, and present, it is an inconvenience, and we know that. But we're taking care of some much-needed infrastructure that is outdated, and once this gets done, then it's done. And so even though it may be a lot of temporary inconvenience, at the end of the day, we're going to end up in a lot better position with our infrastructure once it's done.
Yes. Well said. Thank you. I'll now open the floor for informal discussion, public comment. Anyone wish to speak? Please state your name for the record.
My name is Emery Howard. I live here in Clayton, 205 Holly Circle. I owned a building on Highway 70 right next to the Pizza Hut and the Food Line Shopping Center. A gentleman came this past January to rent the building. I told him he had to go through the town of Clayton for all his permits and inspections and so forth, which he did. So I thought everything was fine. Approximately 1 month ago, the town code enforcement people informed me that I had to be fined $75 a day because he was in violation of some code. I don't think I should have to pay any $75 a day for something I knew nothing about. Approximately in 2013, another business exactly like his was in that very same building, which the town obviously had approved that particular business. So the town does not have to fine me. I guess you have the discretion you can, but it also means you don't have to. And what I'm here tonight is asking you to give me some relief from this fine. At least Mr. Eilers has appealed it, so the lawyers are talking to each other. It's under appeal right now. So I certainly feel I shouldn't have to be paying $75 a day for this fine. And I'm asking you to have the town code enforcement people stop fining me. I appreciate your attention.
Thank you, sir. We take that under advisement. Yes. I think we're also going to have to ask for council to receive some additional information on the details of that too. All right. Anyone else? If not, I'll turn it over to council for comments. Ms. Archer.
I just wanted to say thank you to town staff and my fellow council members for the retreat last week. It was very productive. I learned a lot. I really appreciated all the time and effort that went into it. So I just wanted to make sure that everybody who we didn't see there knew how grateful we were and how well it went and how much we all got out of it. So thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Mr. Casey?
I want to reiterate what Ms. Archer said. Also want to remind everybody that the county is going through their own comprehensive land use plan. There will be a meeting this Thursday in Clayton at the Clayton Center from 6 to 8. I'd welcome anyone and everyone to attend. Obviously, that's very important to the county, and I think we need to have a good presence with our citizens and staff for that. Thank you.
Awesome.
I will say one last, I'll say my piece on this. Yes, this council retreat, it really brought out a lot of how we can work together a little bit better. And I feel like we can collaborate and work really close when it comes to Clayton. I think this is what is going to reflect what the community looks like, and this is what the people want to see. And I think each and every one, hard work and communication, you guys are awesome. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else? All right. If not, at this time, I will entertain a motion to go into closed session.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Motion carries. A motion to go back into regular session.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. All right, now back in regular session. Is there any other business to come before this council? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
I got a motion by
Second.
Councilman. Did you get that? Okay. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Good night.